Today we're taking a look at these NBA matches, which are happening on Saturday, November 5, 2022, and giving you match breakdowns, betting tips and predictions in general on these games. Welcome back to High Stakes, let's get straight into it. Also, don't forget to subscribe and push that notification bell to get notified as soon as we release these sport prediction videos, and if you would like more betting tips and predictions, then check out our Patreon in the link down below. Our new Patreon is a way for us to help you improve your chances of making more money. Multiple plans are available for each and every one of you. By becoming a member of the High Stakes Patreon, you will have access to our best team picks, total picks, parlay picks and much more. Stop wasting hours of your time searching for bad betting predictions that ends up costing you a lot of time and money. Join the High Stakes Patreon now and get the best betting picks. Despite their youth, this is a tough matchup for the Pelicans given their travel and the back-to-back nature of this game against a team that hasn't played since Wednesday. The Hawks shoot the ball at a high rate, protect the basketball, and have what is turning into an elite backcourt in Murray and Young. Young has had 3 days to recover from his eye contusion, so he should be good to go. New Orleans will be healthier than they've been in weeks, but Ingram will be playing in a back-to-back after missing 4 games due to a concussion. He will undoubtedly be rusty in this matchup. New Orleans has struggled overall in defensive field goal percentage, 15th in the league, and will likely struggle in transition in this matchup. Take the Hawks minus 2.5 points. The New Orleans Pelicans head into Atlanta on Saturday night to play their 6th road game out of their first 8 games overall. New Orleans will be playing the second of a back-to-back in this spot after having a 3-day layoff following a 120-117 loss in La against the Lakers on Wednesday night. After leading by 4 points after the first period, the Pelicans were outscored 33-17 in the second quarter and played catch-up for much of the night after that. Zion Williamson, recently returned from a hip injury, scored in 27 points and was supported by CJ McCollum's 22 points, 9 rebounds and 8 assists in the loss. Williamson kept the Pelicans alive through the fourth quarter with 14 points in that stretch, but the Lakers tied it with a last-second 3-point shot and were then outscored 9-6 in the overtime session. The Atlanta Hawks will be home and rested as the Pelicans come in on Saturday night following a game on Friday night against the Warriors. Atlanta hasn't played since Wednesday night in New York, defeating the Knicks 112-99. The Hawks trailed by as many as 23 points in the game before storming back to take the win. The newest Hawk, Dejounte Murray, scored a career-high 36 points in the come-from-behind win. His backcourt mate, Trae Young, scored 17 points despite missing a chunk of time in the second half due to a left eye injury. He returned wearing goggles in the fourth quarter. The Hawks shot just 41% in the game, but held the Knicks to 27% shooting from 3-PT range and committed just 7 turnovers. The over is 7-1 in the Pelicans' last 8 overall and 9-2 in their previous 11 games against a team with a winning percentage above .600. That's not entirely surprising for a team averaging over 118 points per game. Similarly, the over is 5-1 in the Hawks' last 6 overall. While I expect New Orleans' defense to make it more challenging for Young and Murray behind the arc, both are elite playmakers in the pick and roll. Atlanta is also 8th in pace of play this season. Bet the game total going over 233 points. New York Knicks vs Boston Celtics. The Knicks were very disappointed with their season last year, and the team spent money and went out and got Jalen Brunson to improve the offense. Brunson isn't an all-star, but he's a good player, and the former Maverick has played well so far this season. The Knicks are playing with an edge, New York is playing hard every game right now. Boston has looked complacent at times this season, playing well in their season opener against Philadelphia, but not being consistent so far this year. Brogdon is still being worked into the rotation, and the Celtics also have a new coach this year too, after Udoka was suspended during the offseason. This is a more important game for a Knicks team that will use this matchup as a measuring stick against a Celtics team that won the East last year. The Knicks should be more focused here. Take the Knicks. The Celtics opened the season 4-2, but Boston hasn't been the same team that went to the NBA Finals last year. The Celtics have been inconsistent defensively, and this team is ranked just 18th in total offense, giving up 114.5 points per game. Boston's schedule has been very easy to start the year, and the Celtics lost at home to a Cavs team playing without Darius Garland in the only game where Boston played what should be a top team in Cleveland. Boston's other wins have come against bad teams or teams that are playing inconsistently so far. The Celtics have not been in good form so far during most of the season. Boston is led by Jason Tatum once again, who is averaging 30.8 points per game. Tatum also leads the team in rebounding, averaging 7.3 rebounds per game. Marcus Smart is leading Boston in assists, averaging 6.2 assists per game. Boston is working in new acquisition Malcolm Brogdon in slowly, and the Celtics are far from a finished product, but so far Boston has been an inconsistent team. The Knicks were 3-3 through the first 6 games of the season, which is solid for a team that doesn't have a top roster. New York has been better defensively this season, and Julius Randle looks more like the player who was an MVP candidate 2 years ago. All-Star Jason Tatum converted 17 for 20 from the free throw line and finished with a team-high 36 points. Jaylen Brown chipped in 16 points and 5 rebounds for the Celtics, who outscored the Bulls 52-34 in the paint. The New York Knicks failed to qualify for the postseason last year and are hoping that free agent Jalen Brunson can provide much-needed stability at the point guard position. Last night, Brunson delivered a traditional three-point play down the stretch to lift New York to a 106-104 road victory against Philadelphia. The Knicks, 4-4, assisted on 24 of their 37 made field goals and shot 46% overall. New York Jalen Brunson tallied a team-high 23 points, 7-15 FG, to go along with 7 assists and 6 rebounds. RJ Barrett contributed 22 points on 8 for 16 shooting and grabbed 9 rebounds. Julius Randle added 17 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists for the Knicks. The Knicks have the 19th ranked defense, giving up 115.7 points per game. New York's offense is ranked 6th, putting up 117.8 points per game. The Knicks are playing hard, and despite not having one of the more talented rosters, New York has been very competitive so far this year. The Knicks' leading scorer is Julius Randle, who is averaging 18.3 points per game. Randle is also the team's leading rebounder, averaging 9.3 rebounds per game. Jalen Brunson is leading the team in assists, averaging 7.2 assists per game. Mitchell Robinson anchors the New York defense, and he's averaging 2.5 blocks per game this year. The Knicks still lack a consistent third scorer after Brunson and Randle, but New York has been better than they were last year so far this season. The Knicks are playing better defensively this year, but New York still comes into this game with a defense in the bottom half of the league. Thibodeau is known for being a defensive coach, but the Knicks roster isn't built to be a top defensive team, with players such as Fournier getting major minutes still. Boston hasn't been consistent defensively so far this year. The Celtics haven't been consistent this season on either side of the ball. Boston is also still without Robert Williams, and while Horford has been solid, Williams was the better defensive player. Horford adds more offense, but he doesn't have the same defensive presence as Williams. This should be a higher scoring game. Take the over.